No, I never, I'll even tell a couple outright. I don't think it's a wise idea to try to pre-program the evening because even with my experience, I can't do that. I don't know for sure what everybody's going to dance to. I could make up something really great, like, you
Do
know,
that.
we have these 10 songs that are just every time. Actually, it depends on the groom. I review a must play list with my clients that they give me, just kind of go through and make sure that the selections that they made are something that I think people will dance to.
Welcome to Mobile Music Thursday. You're probably wondering who is my guest this week, or maybe you already know him. He's a pretty extraordinary DJ that has had a pretty big impact on the whole DJ industry. It's Ron Ruth. He's out of Kansas City. He has a company called Ron Ruth Entertainment, and he is a single performer, but a production company in and of himself and what he's able to create with collaborators and his clients. It's pretty incredible. You can check out his website and see some of the raves that he's had for the creative work that he does in really creating for brides and grooms, bringing about their story and incorporating music and theatrics and developing his skill level. He's really been quite extraordinary, and he's also shared a lot. I've had the privilege of being in Ron's seminars and workshops. He's done a great job of really connecting the wisdom that Disney has brought in how to incorporate and create an immersive experience, and he's really applied that to his work that he's done, and he's also shared that with DJs and conferences. If you ever get an opportunity to hear Ron, be sure you step in and take some great notes because you're going to have some great stuff to take away. But you take all that away, and one of the really important things that we got to deliver, and we have to deliver on, even if we're the best storyteller in the world, is like really putting together music in a way that's really going to move the crowd, keep people dancing, keep people engaged, keep people involved. And today, that's what we're talking about with the extraordinary Ron Ruth on Mobile Music Thursday, is how he approaches music. Ron, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Jason. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. So I want to start with a big question.
Okay.
So when you're working with a client, and I know that it can vary and depend among different clients, and that's one of the things I want to explore, like how that depends and how that varies and things like that. But you just started working with a wedding couple, for example, and you get to the part where you're going to start putting together your music or approaching the music that you're going to play for dancing for that night. How do you approach music for a wedding dance? For a couple?
Well, in the beginning, I mean, I'm a big believer in allowing the couple, of course, to present me with a must play list and a do not play list, and I think that's kind of where it starts for me.
Okay.
Is I look at what genres of music they may be most interested in. Make sure that, and also make sure that the choices that they made are something that's danceable. And for the most part, I've really not had an issue with that. But I use that kind of as a template of where I'm going to go when I'm thinking about the music. Now, I don't pre-program anything.
Okay.
Most of what I do is pretty much on the fly and on the spot.
Okay. Do you do that from memory then? Or do you have a file structure set up with different genres or different hook songs from eras or things like that? Or do you just do this all from memory?
I do it pretty much all from memory.
Wow.
I'm probably the worst at having like a structure for music. Of all the things I'm not structured in, it's probably in my music.
Okay.
Everything else is pretty well structured, but I have an associate that works with me as well. So I mean, between the two of us, we put our heads together and we can remember just about anything between the two of us and pull it up and play it. If
Sure.
it's something that we think that's going to work at that very moment.
Great. So do you when you're putting together the playlist? So they give you their must plays and their do not plays. What does that tell you? How does that inform you?
Well, again, I think it pretty much gives me a pretty clear idea of where they are in what they like and what they think they're. And most of them pretty good about knowing what their friends will dance to. Now, they don't necessarily know what their parents' friends are going to dance to, and we work all of that in as well. That's something.
So these
that
are questions that this is part of your prep with them, is asking them
Right.
what are your friends like? What do you and your friends like to dance to?
It's not such an obvious question, but In the must play list that I get back from them is kind of implied. It's something that we talk about a little bit about. As I said, I review a must play list with my clients that they give me, just kind of go through and make sure that the selections that they made are something that I think people will dance to, or if I see something in there that I know is a dance floor killer, I will bring it up. Now, I will say to them, I'm happy to play this song, but there's a very good chance that this is going to, and if it's up to them, I will leave it in there. But I feel it important, as it is with anything that I do. I think it's important. I don't want to be in that situation where somebody comes to me at the end of an evening and say, why didn't you warn me about that?
Sure.
I'd much rather warn them in advance about something.
You're setting them up to make an informed choice.
Right, exactly. That's exactly. Thank you. That was very good wording, Jason.
Thanks. That's what I'm here for, just to clarify your thoughts.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I need all the help I can.
That's why John sent me to hosting school. Once you can clarify some thoughts, then you can actually do this show.
There you go.
So that clarifies that, and I think that's really awesome that you will go through and like say, well, this is what's likely to happen. Is that what you want? Based on that experience, and then they can make an informed choice about that. Now, do they give you, or do you ask for enough of selections that you pretty much they tell you what songs they want played the whole night?
Oh no,
or
no,
is this more of a guide that kind of is guiding what you're going to be choosing to play throughout the night?
No, I never, I'll even tell a couple outright, I don't think it's a wise idea to try to pre-program the evening, because even with my experience, I can't do that. I don't know for sure what everybody's going to dance to. So I usually ask them, if you're going to give me a must play list, try to keep it to 12 to 15 songs at the max.
Okay, so that gives you some flexibility and latitude to be able to react to the guests.
Exactly. And the other thing I always encourage is that, allow your guests an opportunity to request music. And the relationship that I have with my couples, by the time we get to an event, I'm pretty focused on what their personality and style is, and I can tell if a request is something that's going to be appropriate or not be appropriate for that particular celebration. Okay. So they trust me with that as well. So
great. Take me back to your last wedding. Now the first dance is over. You're getting into open dancing for everyone. And this is where the dancing is going to begin and continue on to the end of the night. That's the goal. So,
sure.
What are you starting out with?
Well, first off, I cheat. Nobody's watching this, right? They won't hear me say I cheated. Yeah.
No. This is secret. This is such a secret
right?
show.
I'm a huge, I do not like that lull on the dance floor, and I don't like rolling that dice. I don't like spinning the wheel and taking a chance. So what I do is I encourage couples to do an anniversary dance, and I do it completely different than most DJs do. Instead of clearing a dance floor based on how long people have been married, I fill a dance floor based on how long they've been married.
Oh, that's a great idea. I think I've heard you talk about this before.
So the idea is that when the anniversary dance is complete, everyone is on the dance floor. So now I feel a little bit more comfortable at knowing, okay, so I have at least all of the older guests up there. So we're going to aim at them first. We're going to go with something.
So you go after the older demographic first once you have them on the dance
floor. Exactly, right. Because
and why do you go for the older folks that maybe not, I mean, it depends on point of view, of course, but that may be more difficult to engage with and get going, because the younger people are pretty like, woo, let's dance. The girls are like, we're there.
It's never been a real, if I'm understanding your question right, it's never been a real issue. I mean, the older couple, if they're up there on that dance floor and I play something that they're going to enjoy, then they're going to be more likely to stay there than they are to run off. If we flip, just off the top of my head, if we were to just, come right out of the anniversary dance and go into something like Pitbull, I'm going to lose the older guest.
Okay.
And I may never get them back. I don't want them to be afraid to come to that dance floor. I want them to feel, to know that if they're on that dance floor, I'm going to take care of them, and we're going to take care of them for at least a song, maybe two. And they don't have to fear that, well, I can't go up there because all they play is stuff for the kids.
Great.
Now, granted, the kids and my couple, we're gonna make that transition, and they know it. And again, this is something I discuss with them in advance. We'll make that transition. It will happen. But do you want your older guests to have at least a few minutes of a good time, even if they're not on the dance floor all night? Wouldn't it be nice if they're out there for at least the first 15, 20 minutes of the evening?
Right. Right, exactly. Okay, so you begin, you come out of the spotlight dances,
Hmm.
and then you do an anniversary dance
Sure.
where you fill the floor instead of emptying the floor, kind
Sure.
of thing. And then you've got all the older folks that there, plus a lot of younger people. You just have a
Oh,
full dance
absolutely. I
floor.
have everybody.
Okay, great. Now where do you go?
A lot of times we'll do something like maybe go right into Motown.
Okay.
Play a set of Motown from like Respect, Ain't Too Proud to Beg,
Mm-hmm.
Ain't No Mountain High Enough. Just to name a few.
Sure.
Sometimes we might go into a twist or a twist and shout or a
Okay.
shout. Um, it just depends. If
So
we
into
play a
the
Motown song and it
oldies,
looks
kind of
like it's not
more exploring your oldies party dance songs,
right,
which I
exactly.
would say that short list of songs from the 60s that have been kept alive by wedding dances and are
Sure.
still like enthusiastic. All ages are enthusiastic about.
Absolutely. And all ages are familiar with it,
Okay.
which I think is the biggest secret. People are going to respond to those things that they are familiar with. If they don't know the song, they're not going to dance to it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Great. Okay, so you play a few Motown songs, like two or three of those songs. Now where did you go after that with that particular? And I know I from experience I totally get that everyone is a little bit different. So that's why I'm looking at like a specific scenario or having you remember back to use that memory of yours to look back to like kind of where did you go next? And you know what? If you make it up, I'll
I
let
know. I
me
think no,
know.
I'm not going to make it up. I think probably I could make up something really great. Like you
Do
know,
that.
we have these 10 songs that are just every time. No, what we'll most likely do is start weeding away at the must play list that we've been given and start working on some of those because I know that the couple will stay on the dance floor even if we lose if I lose the older guests, if the couple is there, then their friends are there.
Yeah, and they'll attract other
Exactly,
people to come out and
exactly.
dance with them. The
you
party
know
goes where the couple is.
I think yeah, and I think that's part of the science of what we do. That's not really a science. I mean, if you can keep the bride and groom on the dance floor, then other people will be on the dance floor. If the bride and groom leave the room, people want to go find out where they are and what they're doing and what
Is
they're
that
up
something
to.
you tell to the bride and groom?
Especially if they choose not to do an anniversary dance. Most of my couples will do it.
Mm-hmm.
After I explain to them why I'm doing it, why this is important. But if they say, I really, no, we don't really want to do that, then I will express to them that it would be a wise idea to stay on the dance floor for at least the first couple, two or three songs, and I'll pull right from your must play list so that you want to be out there rather than,
No, I guess what I meant was the question was, do you talk to them in advance about the party is going to go wherever you go? You guys are the party.
that,
So if you
that
go hang
has,
out at the bar and do shots, everyone's going to follow you to the bar and do shots.
I,
If you go hang around and do pictures together for 2 hours, all your friends, everyone's going to gather around you to do pictures, kind of thing. If you're on the dance floor, the party's going to be happening on the dance floor. Like the party's going to follow you. Is that something that you discuss with them so they're kind of aware of that?
I
I
will
don't think
just,
that's not something that is like real common knowledge.
I will talk to. It depends. Okay, it depends on the couple from this standpoint. Actually, it depends on the groom.
Oh,
You
interesting.
you can read a groom's personality, and they'll tell you through the part of the painting process. It'll come out at some point that I'm not a dancer and I don't dance and I just want to drink and yada
Mm-hmm.
yada yada. And at that point, then I will say to them, okay, so if you want to drink with your buddies, make sure you're doing it at least in the same room where the party is. Don't be
Mm-hmm.
outside. Don't be, because if you go outside and take all of your male friends with you, guess what I'm left with? Nothing but females.
Oh,
So
that's
it's important
rough.
for you to stay inside. To at least be in the same room so that I'll at least have a couple more males than what I normally would have. So yeah, I mean, I think that those things you have to look at the individual couple and make a
Mm-hmm.
determination whether that's a conversation you really need to have or whether it's one that can go by. I don't have it with all couples, but there have been couples I've said, you know, and whether the groom listens to me or not is totally up to them. but at least I've put it out. Again, it comes back to I wish you would, rather than having somebody say, I wish you had warned me about that, I would
Right.
much rather just
They're
put it
talking about
out
it in
there
advance.
and say,
Sure.
here, here's why.
Right, because a
And if
room
they
full of
understand the
women
why,
alone with
they're
Ron is
fine.
dangerous.
Yeah. And I think that that's a big part of it. Just if they understand the why, just as we should understand the why, then they're going to be fine.
Yes. No, absolutely. So, do you now when you're kind of setting up your music and you kind of going through your routine or your approach to music, do you play music in sets? Like by sets, genre sets, like three oldies and then three top 40 and then three country, or do you do a different approach?
My approach is based on what I see is happening on the dance floor. I mean,
Okay.
if people are going strong on an R&B set or a hip hop set
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, then I'm gonna ride that pony
For
for
how
a
long?
while. Until I start seeing people starting to peel away. Whoops, starting to peel away. I'm gonna ride that horse for a while. That doesn't mean I'm going to write it to death, but I'm going to instead of doing like maybe a 3 song set, I may go as many as 4 or 5 songs.
Okay. So,
Just
how do you know? How do you know? How do you know when to switch?
when you see people starting to either move away or if I can help, there's just at some point, I don't. Guys, that's a great question, Jason. I'm thinking that, it's more of an instinct thing. It's a gut feeling. It's time to make the change. I mean,
Sure.
I don't really have I don't have that one thing I focus on and go, well, that happened, so we need to change. Uh, Obviously, if people are starting to clear the dance floor, you're going to make a change in your programming to
Are you talking
account for that.
about like two or like you see like four, five, six people go off. We say we've got like 30 people on the dance floor and five or six people start
Then
kind of
I
like
then I think it's time to
trickling
make
off, and then
yeah.
you think like okay, you're starting to see some attrition. You're going by like it feels that it seems like they're getting more interested in other things than just grooving on the music right now. So let's try this, and then what informs you as far as like where to go next? Like where are you gonna go next?
Again, I refer to I one thing we'll do is we'll refer to the must play list, and then after that, I'll look at I'll going back to what I saw on the dance floor following the anniversary dance. If the older guests were staying out there, then I'm going to probably go back and try to play something that's going to appease to them and actually that appeases to everyone, but is more targeted at them so that they have an opportunity to play as well.
Okay, that's something that I know as recycling the dance floor. So you cycle a new audience through the
Sure.
dance floor. Is that something that you consciously do or consciously think about as you're, playing to different groups and different age groups and different stages throughout the night?
Yeah, I think you have to be. I mean, it, yeah, I think you almost have to be because I don't want anybody to feel. I don't want anybody to say I would have danced, but they didn't play. They didn't play any music that I know or I would or that that I wanted to dance to. I would much
Mm-hmm.
rather have them leaving going, wow, I never thought they would play that. That was really cool. We got to get up and dance and do the twist or
Sure.
whatever. You know, the younger set is much easier to appease. I mean, the just stay pretty much with the current music, and as long as it's got a great beat and they're familiar with it, they're going to stay out there. The older
Mm-hmm.
guest is a little bit more. It's a little tricky, you know.
Sure. Sure, and keeping that the recycling. So, where do slow sets fit into to all this, or slow songs? Do you double those up, play those singly? Do you use them just to rebuild, or do you have a rule of thumb of how many you want to do in a night?
I don't really have a rule of thumb, but that's another great way of if you see attrition, or if you think there's a time for change and you want to get the older guests back involved again, all you got to do is do a slow set. If you clear a dance floor, play a slow song. You'll get everybody
Right?
back.
It's like, whoops. Okay,
I
how about
mean,
a slow dance song?
I mean, you put in something that is so obscure that nobody all of a sudden nobody dances, and you put in a slow song and you go, "This is the one I meant to play."
Right.
Or I'll
Right.
look at my associate and go, "I told you should have played this instead of that." But
Right. Why don't you pay attention?
yeah. So I mean, come on, let's face it. The reality is, Okay, maybe the New York DJs would disagree, but we've all cleared a dance floor at some point in our life. I just can't imagine there's anybody out there that can honestly say, I've never cleared a dance floor. Well, if you can say that, then trust me, it will happen. And you'll go,
Or you're
"What?"
lying.
Yeah, and you'll go, what just happened here?
Right. Oh, gosh, where do I go now? Should I apologize? Yeah. No, exactly. So, well, which leads me to my next question. So you lose your dance floor and you
Never
switch
happened.
genres. What are some things that you are there's if you're having a hard time getting them back, okay? Which is, I know this question is going to take something because it means you would have to admit that you've had a hard time getting them back on the dance floor at some point in your long career, which I'm sure, it's happened to all of us as we've evolved. So think way, way back when that might have happened. And what activities do you do to try to bring the floor back? Do you have activities, or do you just try to do it with music, or do you shift gears? What do you do there?
I've never cleared a dance floor, Jason. So no, I'm just kidding. Okay, so
Well, then we don't need to move forward with that question.
okay, so let's, for me, again, man, for me, there's no real science to it here, but it's just practical stuff. What do people like to do when they're at a wedding reception? They like to drink, right?
Yep.
So the reason they leave a dance floor may not be just because the song you're playing isn't something they want to hear. It's because they want to go have another drink. Or maybe, and to be honest with you, there have been times we've worn out a dance floor, and I'm sure that's happened to other DJs too. You just wear out people because they've just been dancing for 45 minutes straight.
Right, they just get tired.
And they just get tired, and the click people go off the dance floor to get something to drink, and I mean, for lack of better words, and other people follow. So I combine the best of both worlds. You want the people to come back to the dance floor, invite them to come back, bring their drinks with them, get them in a circle. Let's do Piano Man.
Oh, okay. So you'll do a sing-along to kind of bring everybody back.
Yeah, because it combines both things. They don't have to dance. A number of things. They don't have to dance. They're even told, you don't have to dance. They all know the song. You get them swaying with their glasses and stuff, and they're just having a great time. And then you can go out of like a Piano Man into into Journey. And God, I should know this. Have you ever gone brain dead? And you
yes.
can't remember?
Yeah, most gigs actually. Like, where am I going to go next?
Or living on a prayer,
Yes.
Something that everyone is familiar with and they sing along to. It's, if you can do 2 or 3 songs like that in a row, and the circle doesn't stay any longer than Piano Man. They just naturally dissipate, and they're in the center. Now they're on the dance floor. They have their drinks. They're singing, and then you can bring it right back to where we left off.
Yeah, the party's reinvigorated.
And there you go. I mean, it's a science.
Exactly.
It's an exact science.
I totally hear that.
Don't Stop Believing is the other song I was trying to think of by Journey. I just went totally brain dead. So
that's okay. That brain freeze happens to me all the time. Don't Stop Believing has become the new, for years and years and years for me you and I are in the Midwest. I'm a little more upper Midwest, but we're in the primary, the heart of the Midwest. And AC/DC, You Shook Me All Night Long, if they were going to do a rock closer, like for 20 years has been, of course. Well, yeah, we're going to do Shook Me. Yeah. And in the last like 3-4 years, I'm getting, Don't Stop Believing. Oh, yeah. Like that has replaced it for the closer. Is that something that you're experiencing?
I let my couples choose their last dance. They'll choose any number of things, from a slow song to a fast song. Just depends.
Sure, but of the fast songs, the ones they're going to rock out to end with, are they choosing Don't Stop Believing more? Or is that just something that is a unique experience to me?
Yeah, I think it's more of a unique experience to you, because for us, Don't Stop Believing is going to be somewhere in the middle of that party.
Okay.
Again, it comes down to... this is also something that older guests, I mean, believe it or not, that song is from the 70s, early 80s? 80s. So the guests that are there, I mean, they're parents, friends, they're in their 40s. They're going to be on the dance floor to that because they remember it.
Well, that's an oldie now.
Yeah, that is.
As much as I hate to admit that.
Yeah. Used to be you played Moonlight Serenade to get people on the dance floor, the older guests on the dance floor. They don't want to hear that anymore. They don't even know
Right.
who that
How
is.
about a little Buddy Knox?
Yeah.
Get the party doll going. Everybody loves that one. That could be a
It's
Midwest thing too.
it's astounding to me what people consider to be cliche and cheesy nowadays. And with the new thing with Justin Bieber getting in so much trouble, and now Miley Cyrus, she was supposed to have a concert here in Kansas City, and then she canceled because she got sick, and I think she played again the other night. She finally came back, but with all the stuff that she's gotten into, I'm winding up with more "Don't Play Miley Cyrus" and Justin Bieber
Oh, wow, really
on my
interesting.
do not playlist.
Miley Cyrus is showing up on your do not playlist.
And so is Justin Bieber. I mean, it's
Why?
just, and you got to admit, I mean, I'm setting aside Miley Cyrus and her troubles. "Party in the USA" is still a great
It's
song.
a good dance song, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people, and it's like another sing along. People are out there and they're singing along to it. But now she's just pissed everybody off so bad we have to take it off the table.
Right, yeah. Twerking has not been inspired.
Yeah, yeah,
Instead,
yeah.
it really backfired.
Yeah.
No
So
pun intended. So this is great. Ron, I tell you, every time I do these shows, it's never long enough to actually cover everything. But you shared a lot of really, really great insights that I think would
thanks.
be really valuable in looking at different ways to approach music, approach your audience and your crowd. I can tell you're really tuned in to your audience. And one of the toughest things in this conversation that we have about mobile music is like being able to talk about how you work on your intuition, because it's like choosing where you're going to go next, what you're going to do next is so an intuitive thing in terms of like where is my audience at and how are they going in interacting in a non-direct sort of way. So thanks so much for sharing that. I really
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it. Love to have you come back on Mobile Music Thursday and
Oh,
talk music again sometime.
anytime, anytime.
All right, fantastic. Everyone, it's Ron Ruth from Kansas City, Ron Ruth Entertainment. You can find his link for his website if you want to check out Ron in the description right here. Be sure to leave your comments below on our YouTube page, and don't forget to check out some of the other great shows we have here on DJNTV. We have the silly DJ News show, the Bill and Jason show that happens on Mondays, and then we also have a Tech Talk with Ben Stowe, and that happens on Tuesday nights, and John Young is always entertaining and fun and interesting with that as we find out all the latest tech from Ben, keeping you up to date on all the good stuff and entertained. It all happens here on DJNTV. Until next week, I'm Jason Jones saying so long.